Okay, so continuation, we'll be discussing about majority of all these CSS properties that are for me. And one of the good resources that I'll tell you that you
Uh,
can look up to is
your
W3
screen
School.
is not being shared, so sorry. I'm not seeing your screen.
Okay, sorry. W3 schools have one of the best resources, that's written resources for beginners, because they have most of their things very self-explanatory in the write-ups and all. So one of the things that I would also be doing on this class, aside writing the normal code, is looking at websites and saying some kind of secrets in websites. So before we start that, let's just talk about the first part that we'll be talking about. Let me open my VS Code. So in our HTML, we've done linking. That's in our previous class, we would have come across how to link your CSS to your HTML and how different type of CSS, how you can actually add a CSS to your code, be it inline or what is it called, be it you calling your style inside your HTML body or calling it externally. So there are three ways of adding CSS to your code. So I believe in our last class, we must have spoken about the three ways of doing that. So that we don't actually waste more of the time that has gone already. So let's just start with what we want to start today. And one of the first topic I said I'll be discussing with us is from what we have on the video schools is actually border radius. So border radius is one of the advanced CSS, although it's still very basic. But at some point, users don't know how to actually when you can like when it's best to actually add a border radius to your code. One of the things I would also advise every newbie is try not to make your button to be too sharp. Making your button, or even your images can be sharp, but your buttons being too sharp sometimes defeats, like, does not give full beauty to a code. For example, you could see this button has a curve. There's a curve within this button. And what is used to achieve these curves is actually border radius. So let me practicalize a little about border radius. Let me say I'm having a div. I have a div. Then in my div, I would just want to give it a class and say, um, let me say parent. And I would want to start this parent also. I would want to give it a width. Let me give the parent a width of control. Yeah, a width of, I don't know if you can see my screen very well. Let me expand this. Yeah, 200 pixel. Let me give it also a height of 200 pixel. Then I would like to give it a background color of, let me say, blue. So let me see what I have first on this. Yeah. So I have this, but you can see this edge. You can see this edge. So what border radius would help me do to this edge? Just an element, border radius. That's border. Then the radius is actually no normal radius in mathematics. So what you're targeting is the radius. That's, you're trying to make the border in a circular way. So the different ways of adding radius, you can either use the percentage. These are different options of what you can actually do with border radius. But I would advise you that always use a pixel to handle your border radius. For example, if I should do 2 pixel, what this actually means is, let me see if I show you what it means. What this means is, okay. So if I click on this, you can see it means I'm having top left right radius to top right radius to top right radius, top bottom right. That's this part, this part, this part, and this part. You could actually adjust each of them in a kind of way. So for example, I can do this. Let me say I want to give this a 20 pixel, and I want to give this a 10 pixel, and I want to give this a 5 pixel, and I want to give this one a 0 pixel. I'm very sure we are conversant with this naming convention where you can actually name, there are 2 to 3 ways of you or trying to add either padding, margin, that's to the left, right, bottom, then the other side, top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right, to add your CSS to it. There are three different ways to actually do that, and I'll show you that in a bit. So when I do this, what you could see that happened here is now I have a top right, top left radius of 20, which is there. This is left. Top right radius of 10, which is this. Then I have top bottom right radius of 5, which is this. Then the top bottom left radius, which is 0. So these are ways where you can actually add different radius to different things. But ideally, one of the best ways that if you know that you want to add equal radius, which is what you should actually do to all your boxes, is always advised to just use one. And if you are not using one, if possible, you want to actually do what is actually above and different what is actually on the left and right. What you need to do, for example, if I do 10 pixel here, so this is actually taking two sides. One is for the top, one is for the bottom. So top right, then top bottom, which you can see here. So this is different and this is different. So on border radius, this is actually how border radius work and the function of border radius. So one of the things that I'll also be discussing, which is very key, is CSS gradients. And when I say CSS gradients, one of the things you would encounter while you are developing as a beginner, even CSS enthusiast, is encountering CSS gradients. What CSS gradients basically means is it allows you to add two colors together. Then adding the two colors together, it gives you the ability to have mix. You are blending the two colors so that they could actually match well. And when I say you are blending two colors, I'll show you what I mean with that in a bit. I was trying to look for an example here, but sadly I could not get an example. So let me just show you what that actually looks like. So let's say, for example, I need to add a color radius that's border gradient of, let's say, yellow and black. Then what I can do is, let me, for example, this that is here. So I would gladly just put this, let me leave it as blue. So for me to do that, what I need is the background. You actually use background image. The tag to use to do that is background image. And you can see, they already gave me this Moose linear gradient, WebKit or something. But what I just need is a linear gradient, which is this. You can actually have an oval radius also, and I'll show you all of that in a bit. And what always entails is just the two colors. The first one, which is always the primary. The first one, which is the primary. Then the second one, which is always the secondary. So when you say secondary, the first one, which is the first one, primary. The second one, secondary. So if I should save this, I need a comma here. If I should save this, you will see me having two colors. As you can see, there are two colors here now. There are two colors here. You can see there are two colors here. So that's how I can actually get the radius for this. Also, there are ways where you can actually fix, maybe you want to change the radius. There's also some external element that you can put that you want to actually move from this part to this part. For example, at this point, there are three things that you can add, and this is actually going to show us. If I click on linear gradient, okay, it's not giving me that. So what I can just do on this linear gradient is I can add, for example, so let me say left. As you can see, it's moved it to this side. That's okay. I'm moving. I want it to actually the primary, which is this. Then the secondary, which is this. So I'm saying the primary should actually move to left. So you can play around with linear gradients. There's also a video that speaks extensively about this, which should actually be uploaded. So on linear gradient, you can also have radial gradient. That's circular. Is it radical? Let me check that. As a developer, you don't need to, okay, radial gradient. There's actually radial gradients. So radial gradient, that's circular. That's, let's see if I can get the properties that to have. Let me just check that. They have different properties that gives you like the degrees and all of how you want the circle to be. Yeah, red, blue, whatsoever. So it's still the same method. Let's say red, blue, green. Let's see from what they actually have here. So this is it. It gives me a circular form, although this is hardly used. This is hardly used, but majorly it is used when you're trying to like give a background, like you're trying to give it a kind of how would I put it? Should I say a whooping that has this kind of spring-like design? That's most time where they actually call this kind of CSS, but they're not very important. So before I move forward, before I move to the next topic on the gradient part, I would like to ask, does anyone have any questions so far?
From my end, no.
Right. This is trying to write.
Sorry, I have a question.
Okay, great. Please shoot.
Question. Yeah, for that border radius, what if we just want to like put corner in one of the side and we don't want to put corner? Are we to put corner left radius left then the amount of corner radius I want to put there? Or how are we going to?
Okay, one of the ways to actually do that is one of the easier way to do that is either you actually call who is trying to actually write, please. Thank you. Border radius has this kind of element. Border top left radius. Let me do this for example, 20 pixel, which is actually taking my top left, that's this left corner. This you can see. Then there's still depending. Let me put it at a very big one so they can see better. This one you can see, which is just one part. So if I need to actually put another part, I will just target whatever radius I'm looking for, which is like border, for example, right, which is talking about this right part. So if I should put this one and I say 80 also, you'll see, which is this other part. So you can see. I don't know if this answered your question. The person asked that question. Are you still on the call?
Yeah, I'm on the call. I understand what you're saying now.
Okay, great. I can see Catherine and up. Okay, for this, I'm taking questions for the next 30 minutes while I continue. So, Catherine.
For the linear gradient, sorry, please go back
okay.
to your yes code, your stuff. Yes. So for the radial gradient, is there a way? Is there also in CSS we are going to, for instance, I'm seeing that the red, blue, and the green color they're very shouty. Is there a way that they can reduce that?
Yes, you can actually reduce that. One of the best way you can even do that is coming here.
Sorry, please. Are you come again?
Sorry, what I did, I hovered on this box. Then I can actually reduce the visibility of it. I can even bring it, let me say, change it to actually say, okay, this kind of way. If I save, you'll see it's not actually showing as if it's there. So let me do that to the blue. Since that blue has more, let me leave it here and let me put this here and let me see. So let's see. You can see it's not as shouty as it was like maybe this thing. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yes, I do. It's okay.
So you can actually change anything here. You can even select colors from here. put whatever colors you want, and that would actually do justice to whatever it is. Is that good?
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Okay. So continuously, there are also other ways you can actually put to say, okay, for linear gradient, there are ways where you can actually put to say, for example, what I want you to actually take maybe a radius of, instead of using that to left, to right, to all those plenty things, you can even use degree. And to use degree, for example, I can do 90 degree, which is actually what I would just write, DEG, 90 DEG, which is going to take saying 90 degree. I can also still change this to say 180, and you see the changes in that. 180. You can see it's now at the top. So you can also use degree to change the position. This is degree. You can use degree to change the position of how I want it to look. Let me just use the shouting color so that you understand better. You'll be able to see what I'm doing. Okay. So now this blue. Okay, let me just change this back to green. Okay, great. So you can see this. I'm only debugging. I'm only trying to debug. So you can see the movement. If you can, it is not showing any movement here. Let me just stop it. This has not actually reloaded. It's still giving me the same old vibe. Sorry. Okay. So I have 1, 2, I see still 3 colors. So the degree part. So you can see the movement. So with degree, you can actually move. What is it called? You can change where you want it to actually focus. That's why debugging sometimes is very good. When is your debugger tool, which I know is one of the courses I would love to take maybe at my next class on Thursday. I'll teach you how to actually debug CSS, because one tool you basically need. So I would love you to actually join the class on Thursday, because I'll majorly talk about how to use the debugging tool. So you can see the movement of my 180 and all. Then I can equally copy this and just go on out to my code. So I can see whatever I'm doing on the on at the go. So then also one of the ways you can also, linear gradient allows you to add multiple colors. It's not just stopping at this. I can still add more colors to this. I can still add, let me say, green. Let me say gold. Let me say brown. Let me say red. It does not matter. It's not going to hold it. Everything is going to be displayed more like a rainbow color. So that's what linear gradient. There's no limit to the numbers of color you can add on your linear gradient. You can even use it to form design. You can even write your name. So also one of the key part of linear gradient that you should also know is you can add, there's something in linear gradient which is called repeating. And as the name implies, repeating, you are trying to like repeat something. You want it to show number like at a very good number of times, not like one same or not at once. It's going to show that thing multiple times, one same thing. So let me just reduce this color so that you can actually see much better. Let me reduce what I have. Let me remove all of this. Remove all of this. Let me refresh. But on repeating, what you actually always add. No. Abel, don't try to record. Sorry. you always add percentage. What number of percent do you want this to actually work? For example, let me give this a 50%. Wait. So you can see. So he's repeating this for me, showing me instead of me writing plenty code, I want to keep putting yellow, blue, yellow, blue, yellow, blue. No, you can do repetitive stuff with linear gradient in this kind of easy way. Okay, great. So one of the next thing I want to talk about aside this will be CSS transforms, which is one of the good things I would want people to like know on this. So CSS transform, I'll still be using this my Dave for that. Who is trying to write? Please stop trying to write. Please. Please. I'll still be using this my div. Then I'll still, let me put this out. So this is the former box I have. So now what transform basically means is you are trying to like move.
Hello, sorry, I raised my hand before you move forward to transform.
Okay.
Can I ask my question?
Yes, please.
Please, from the name, you said background image. Is it possible to combine normal image with the linear gradients?
Yes, you can.
And to come out well?
Yes, you can. You can. Just that the image, you're trying to like add an image to it. So you're going to be having multiple of that. And one of the best ways, that I say research, is everything you put on your head. So you're going to be having background image. You have a normal background image. You even set it to the URL entity. So you just setting it to the URL entity. So this is it. After you set a normal, what is it called? Your normal image, you have to set it to the URL entity. So then place the image. Okay, I think since this is it, let's just try it before I move forward so that we don't get lost. But there's a video actually speaking about this that I think you should watch. So let's say linear gradient. All you need to do is come here, for this comma URL. Yeah. Then I would have to go and import an image. Let me see. Do I have any image? Let me just use this. Let me use this image.
Oh, Rawa, let me.
Oh, sorry. Please use that. Please, let's mute. I don't know why this thing does not add.
Yes, sir, please. In the absence of that, can I just quickly ask questions, sir?
Okay.
No, sorry, I actually came late to the class, so I don't know, maybe my question will be answered. So the use of background image, the linear gradient you talk about.
Yeah.
The linear gradient you talk about.
Okay.
Yeah, is there any possible way of just writing the color with text without using the RGB method? Like how the CSS looks like?
Yes, actually, that's what we used before. You can use that. You can use that. Do you understand me? You can use that. We use the blue and all of that.
I just don't know how they like in CSS form.
In CSS, you can actually use your normal green, blue, whatever, using the hash code, the color code. It should work.
Looks like.
Huh?
I'm talking about the code. It looks like the code.
Yes, you use the normal, like your normal hash code, the hash whatsoever. Let me like this kind of this your hash stuff. Hash like what's it called? 000. You can use it. It will still work. So let me just since you're asking for that, let me change that and add there. Okay, now complete. So if I save this and I come back here. Something is happening to my code. After this part, I will not be taking questions, not until 15 minutes from the end of the class. The image is not coming up. So let me just actually use that one.
Check the image part on your stuff. Is a slash supposed to be there?
This stuff is usually very annoying.
Yeah, I can remove the slash too because they're on the same level with the CSS index.
Well, I'm not quite sure that's actually the issue. So that's not actually the issue. So let me just do this. Let me copy what they have and actually place. Since they have the URL, by using radial. So this is actually the image. So even though I'm using linear, it's just the CSS part. So this is still linear. So you can actually add an image. Person ask that question, you can add a URL into your this thing. Let me just figure out why mine is not working properly. Yeah, it's working. It was the image, it was the what is it called? The color of the image. The color that we actually the background that we're actually using. This color, that was what the cost was. So this one has an opacity kind of on it. I don't know if you can see the image behind it. There's an image behind it. Great. Okay, so that's how to add that on that. So on the next topic, as I was saying, is actually the transform. And when I'm trying to say transform, let me see leave it out here. So there's a CSS property called transform. And what transform basically do is it helps you give your CSS. If you want to tilt, for example, you have a box, you want to tilt it, or you want to actually change, you want to change the way it actually, you don't want it to be straight. You want to perform other actions on it. There's a CSS property called transform. And transform has different, it has a lot of, what is it called, entity inside. So for example, let me do the basic one, which is, let's say, rotate 3D. Let me say, this rotate, when you actually give rotate, you actually use majorly the degree. So degree. So let me use the DEG, which you'll see what will happen. Is it loaded? Let me refresh this. Okay, this is 2D. This is actually okay. 3D is actually this is actually 3D. So this is actually the normal rotate. So rotate actually moves it. So even though I want to actually maybe change it to actually say let's say 90, that I want it to move to another side. This is 90. So there's a way you can actually take your image. You want to change it. You want to change the direction of how it looks. That's what they call transform. So with CSS, you can change your element. Even if it's a write-up, for example, I'm here and I have a H1 tag, then I can say this is Zuri. Then I save. You would see my text is now starting from here. This is Zuri. So I can change it different ways. That's what transform does for you. But now it's not just rotate that you can use. There are also a lot of transform properties. For example, different ones have that different things they do. So for example, scale have what they do. But scale usually takes two entities. So it usually takes what you want to, is that you are trying to like take the height, you're trying to say you're measuring the height and also measuring the width. For example, now, if I'm saying 2 on this, what this one actually means is I'm taking 2 times its original width. When you hear scale is like you're enlarging. For example, help me scale this picture. It means you are either enlarging it or you are reducing it. You are making it bigger in pixel wise, or you're actually reducing it. Then this is actually only the first property, the width for the height. Then the height, let me say 5, which is actually saying 5 times the width. So let's see. So you can see how big this thing has become. The height is now 5 times the normal one, while the width is now 2 times the normal one. So let me change this to also 5. So you can see that's scale. That's what scale. So sometimes if you have an image and it's actually looking small, then you need to actually expand it. Instead of you going to say, okay, you are going to your Canva, you can also expand it, although it would actually have an effect. So let me show you another thing on this thing. So you can see this image that is inside. Another property, the advanced CSS property, is aside the scale, you can walk around. One of the assignments that you should get is to tell you to walk around what of this scale, what they do. So it's expected that you go back and you test them to give out what they do. So you can get an assignment on skill. So what does skill does in advanced CSS? So it's doesn't transform. You have to test all of this. This is an advantage for you to test how they behave. So one of the best way to learn is also after a class, try to check, because it's not everything, every property that is here that could be taught in the class. So it's advised that you go back and you try some of them yourself. So going out of scale and transform, there's another property that, yes, you have an image, but it's not looking okay. It's not looking correctly. The view is not correct. So that's when a background position comes in. There's something called background position. What you can do with background position is to actually, okay, I want you to show this way. You can see that when I click on this, the image is actually showing somehow. I don't know if you can see that. It's trying to say, okay, I'm trying to show the bottom. I'm trying to show the left and all. So for now, let me just put it at this center. There's also another background property that helps you bring out, what's it called, how the image look. So that's the background size property. Background size. So let me come back here. Contain, let me use contain, for example. The image I added, this is the image I added. This is the image I added. You can see what contain will do for me. It will try to show me the exact image, how it looks like. It's so that it contain the width, the available width of the box. Then you can, one other thing is cover. There are 4 properties of content, major properties of content. There are 4. One is cover. Cover will take the full width, trying to put that image in the kind of way. Just take whatever it has. Don't show everything. Just give me what you know, the width, the available width that is given. That's what cover will do for me. There's also another one that is auto. Just give me anything that you like, the way you feel it might look like. That's what auto does. There's another property about that is actually this inherent or initial, which they almost work the same way. Inherent and initial. What initial means is how the image is, whatever the default is, that's what I want to show. That's what initial does. So I only had to come into this. It's not like it's something you learn while you go, but it's something you should also get to know of how you can change your image, position your image to be able to show clearly. Before I go, let me use 1 minute to take question, 1 to 2 minutes. With this background, size, position, elements that you have, one of the things you can do to learn most of these things is you can come to your normal debug, just put your background. You see different things that this background could do. You see a lot of them. Give it different colors, whatever, hue, a lot. So before I go further, let me ask, who has any question they want to ask?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, please, the background position. Please, what are the sub-properties of it?
Background position.
Yes, sir.
That's the top, left, right, inherent, invert, onset. Is that okay? Okay. Still under the transform. There's another, or is it called? Other transform. The first one I actually used was the rotate. And I was trying to do a rotate 3D at that point. This rotate 3D, what you actually use majorly is the X, for example, or Y. Let me use the Y. Since I have the text there. So you can say, then ask me what angle. So it's angle that this always takes. So at what angle? So I can say at angle 90. At angle 90 degree. So let's see what I would have. This is 90. So let me change. Instead of 90, let me have 1, 2. It's actually still going to be the same thing. It's actually still the same thing. So sorry, let me remove this. Let's see. I don't need that this thing. Okay, yeah. Sorry. So this is it. It will change my distance, make it right in a different way. So this is what 180 does. It's no way I'm trying to rotate something, you're flipping it to the back. You're flipping something to the back. That's what happens with this. So there's another one that is also CX, capital X. What that will also do is it's going to rotate this thing, turn it upside down for me. So you can actually play around with all this good CSS property. You don't have to, because everything in front end majorly is CSS. So you don't need to go and tell the designer, okay, I need an image. Please turn the image upside down for me before I can use it. Or you see an image and you're like, no, this image has to turn upside down. I need to go and look for a designer to do that for you. So you don't need the designer to do that. All you need is yourself. Get to know all these cheats on CSS. So that's it. So that aside this translate, there's see also another one which is Z. So it's XYZ. It's XYZ. So let's see the Z. So you can see it's just moving it. Like it's stretching it to the left, like not like left, just shifting it away from the way it was before. So moving something from here down here. So let me remove this so that you can see that it's actually at the left side. But because of that, it's shifted it. Still the same distance, but adjusting it on the left side to the right. That's what Z does. It's not turning anything upside down, but just moving it away from what it was. So that's the basic thing about transform. The major reason why I spoke about this transform before I move into what's it called? The next one, which is the transition. And when you say something is transitioning, I don't know. Let me just ask somebody. Somebody can tell me when you get something is transitioning, what does it imply to you?
Change.
Huh?
Change.
Okay, great. Great. So you understand what that means. So you're actually trying to make something change. You are trying to move. Is moving. Maybe for example, the different transition elements. You are trying to create an effect. You are trying. I'm trying to get the perfect English so I'll be able to understand. You are creating an effect on the property using CSS. So you are transitioning. You are changing. Then transition always needs a duration. So for example, there's a fade effect. You go to some websites and okay, let me show you a website. Let me show you a website and let me show you something on it. You'll see a kind of transition effect. It's actually taking a longer time. Somebody is not hand. Okay, I can see can okay, nobody. Please, that Afiolua, please, I'm begging. Please, can you just stop? Right, thank you, please. I'm begging. So, yeah, now over on this thing, you can see that something is actually coming out. It's not like it just showed. I don't know if you can see. It's coming out. That's like an example of a transition effect. So it's coming out. It's not just popping, it's not just showing. So it's fading out. So now going back to what we have. So now one of the beginning of transition effect is actually a property in CSS already, where once you type in, it has its own property. So I'll just start. Let me transition. So this is it. It has different properties on its own. Then once that transition does it, you can either set on transition, you can, one of the best way to actually test transition is either on over. So let's do that over effect that we actually did, that over one that we did. So let me say, let me leave this. And let me say something like dot parent dot over. So let me give it width of, I want the larger width of 500 pixel, height of 500 pixel. So when I say transition, what I can just do is, what this would actually do for me is I can set a width, which is taking this, then I can give it a, let's say 2x, then that's 2 seconds, that's the time. Then height, let me say 8 seconds. That's timing. So let me go back to my this thing. Now let me over on this. Let's see what happens. Let me refresh first. Okay, great. It's refreshing. Let me just put this. Sorry. It's giving me an error here.
I don't know. I saw something. Sorry for speaking. The dot parent dot hover, is hover not supposed to be like a pseudo class, a pseudo something? It should be colon.
Sorry. Thank you very much for that. I've actually been looking at what is actually happening. So you can see when I over on this, do you know what happened? What transition does for me is that I want to increase. For example, this one is actually fading. It's fading it for me. But for this, I want to actually increase something because I only added this. But what this thing does for me, it hides some elements. When you can use it to hide elements to show, okay, show this content when I over. Or when I over on this, I want it to actually behave in this kind of way. So there are several properties that you can add to this. And one of them is when you're actually doing the over stuff, you can add your different properties, which is like one, the timing function, the timing, the let me do this. You can add a timing function and you can add different. So doing this, I can say this is actually here. So let me just comment this out. I'm still going to use it. So one of the properties, so I can do my, so let me have this as a class. Hello. So my first one, I can actually, on the timing this thing, I can have a property of hello, hello. Then I can set this property, transition timing function. There are several ones that you can add. There is dash in. There's normal is. This one. Then let me see add this back. Sorry. So let me save and let me check. So that's the default one. So let me just change. I'm trying to check something. Still the same behavior. Okay, great. So those I'm trying to show you. So when I have the linear actually means horizontal. I think I made a mistake in that one. I was actually asking horizontal and vertical. You have to browse it in our previous class. I've forgotten it again. So ignore me on that. So it moves this kind of way. So for example, you are trying to open something up and say maybe an image that are folded together. So on over, you want the image to actually show up. For example, you have 5 images that are here. I'm not really having this kind of width. You want to say on over, I want it to actually expand. So let's try that. Let's try that. So I'll just add a property in this my style, display flex. So you can see, for example, I have some images here and I want to expand. Okay, whenever I hover on this can actually work for you. Maybe you're having testimonials or you have image. I don't know if somebody's trying to get what I'm trying to say. Gallery. You have different galleries and you want to style it. You don't want them to look.
Yeah.
Then they are small. So when I hover on it, I can shift it to make it bigger so it's view so you can actually view it. So this is actually one very sweet CSS property that you should know. This, as I said, the purpose of this class is just the secret of CSS, which is the advanced part. The secret of how you can actually make things easier. Instead of you going to write JavaScript and your CSS, you say, when I hover on this, expand the image for me. No, this would actually hold it for you. Then, aside that, there's another property called, let's say, is in out, which I'm adding here. Let me refresh this. I think this is what the in out does. Yeah, this is what it does. You can see the difference. There's actually a difference between both of them, the linear and is in out. I don't know if you can notice it. This is linear. This is in out. Or is out. Just very minute, not very obvious, but you can see. Okay, before our class, I believe there might be another class after this, or let me just check. If there's no class, we continue a little. But before that, I'll take questions. Our next class basically is on animation. Okay, there's actually a class for 6. The next class is starting by 6, which is shade. Is it today? Yes, by 6. So the next class is like this. The next class I'm going to be talking about majorly is on animation. So let me just use a little minute to take questions. And I know that we actually fell back of 30 minutes. So I'll try to cover up that also instead of fixing another time. Does anyone have any question?
Yes, sir. I only have a suggestion, sir. I don't know, maybe we have any material we can go through. And again, so for us to be able to understand this better, I think we need constant practice. I don't know when the video will be ready, because assuming the way you teach us now, like someone like me, a novice, if practice like today, tomorrow, I think I can.
Yes, I
So
think the video should be. I will try to enforce that this video is uploaded as soon as possible before my
just
next
do
class.
it can help us a lot, because some of us are novice here. We have never even experienced something, this type of lecture before.
Oh, I think I still have 2 people raising that. Okay, I'll try to actually look for a solution to that. So let me go. Who is okay? The person on iPhone. So let me take a question and I'll go to a book.
I was actually the one that.
Okay. Then Mr. Ibukun. Mr. Ibukun. Okay, maybe he just raised it. Okay, yeah.
I know he's not Mr. Wu.
Sorry, please, apologies. Just sit for Miss Ibukun.
Yeah, so I want to say that thank you very much for the class. I also want to say that please let the section be recorded and uploaded on YouTube, because half of what you did there I did not really understand. But if I watch the video again, I'll probably get it. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for that feedback also.
So I just wanted to say something, not really a question, sir. Just you said something about teaching others to help you to solidify whatever you learned. I'm not trying to like have. I just want to have like, let me say, 40%, 50% CSS knowledge. So I was like, if anyone is down for a Google Meet or something like that, I can volunteer to teach what I know or something.
Okay. You can put that on Slack channel. Yeah. So you can actually get the proper reach out for people.
And if you can drop your contacts on this platform, so we can copy from there and meet you later.
Slack will be much better.
Yeah, I'll drop the Slack.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But after you drop this call, it's on. Everybody needs to copy it now at this point. Okay. Mr. or Mrs. I don't know. Popola Abiodun. I can see your hand up. I don't know.
Thank you. I actually wanted to ask if this actually applies to video as well. I don't know if you get my question.
Okay, that's for.
If actually, you know, if this is an image,
yeah,
you over on it will show, like it will view very well, like it will be bigger, like you said. Is it applied? Can this also be applied to a video, like uploading a full video, and if you over on it, it will show probably half of the video or so?
Yes. Yes. Yes, it will.
All right, thank you.
Okay, yeah. Okay, let me go through one of the last things so that I know that in the next class I'm not going to touch transition again. You know, I came first, I taught you about transform. And the purpose of me talking about transform is because I want to use transform in transition. Because I even teach transition, I would want to also tell you how you can actually add your transform. See how transform also looks beautiful, sweet. So you could add some element, change the style, you transform, and it looks so beautiful. That's almost like an animation, but it's not like an animation. So let me just show you that trick real quick. So let's say, for example, I have this. Before I add my transform, let me just add it here. Instead of me doing this plenty things, let me just do. Let me see how this works. Okay, great. Still working. So on this, I can add a transform on over. I can add a transform element and say, let's say, transform. I talked about rotate. So let me say 180 degree. Then in my transition, I can add that rotate also in it. So let me say something like this, and I would need to actually reduce this. Let me just take this to 300. This to 300. Then the transform, I can do a comma, then put my transform. Then, you know, transform, I also said you can actually put the seconds stuff on everything. So I can just say 2s, that's 2 seconds. So let's see what happens. Let's see the magic that would happen on this. Do you guys see that? So you see those things that you actually see, maybe sometimes when you over on few things, it's something just changing, now expanding, giving a beautiful look. Most of them are CSS. They are not doing it, maybe it's actually a Jiffy or something. No, they are CSS. And these are a few tricks that you actually use on CSS to beautify your website to make it look okay. One of the sites that I've used, let me see if I can get it, is blog games dot I don't know if this is it. No. I wanted to show you a real example of where all of this actually works. Is this it? Yeah. You can see all of this movement. This movement. This is actually one of the movement of transform and transition. This movement, but now it's on auto. This movement. There are actually different images at that time. There are different images. They are all different images, and this is just something in the center. So this movement is an example of CSS transform. So what I actually just taught is the basic of CSS transform. When you go deeper, more deeper, when you practice, you're able to achieve something as similar as this. I don't know if you understand, if you get that.
Yeah, we do. The one on this side.
Huh?
I get what you mean. The one on this blog game site.
Yes.
It started moving immediately the site loaded. Okay. It started moving when the site loaded. As it came to the site, started moving.
Yes. Started moving when the site loaded.
Is it? I don't know. I want to guess. Is this what you used keyframes?
Is this?
When you use keyframes when you name when you put an animation at different percentages.
Yeah, this is one of the properties. It's also same like transform. When you go deeper, you get something like animation, but not like animation. So this is it. This is actually the code. What is actually handling it. The keyframe is also there. But this actually is coded without a framework. Let me just put it that way.
Okay, so animation is different from using keyframes.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the keyframe property. Keyframe is just the rotate and all. We've not gotten into all of this. Which don't get animation, we get it, but the transform part, all this rotation, how it's rotating at 360, that's what I'm trying to talk about. With all that being said and done, let me take one question and can actually close for the day. Between I built this site, that was 2020. So does anyone have question?
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Yes, sir, please. Mine is not actually a question, but it's just that I can emphasize, please. I still want to speak to you, to solicit you again, because I don't know how possible we can get this video as soon as possible. Even if you can, just for us to point practice, because I can't lie to you, someone like me, I can only get at least maybe 30% from what, and again, to make things easier for us and for you too, so that I will not be disturbing you or bombarding you with questions next class. If we can get the video earlier, I think we can make a lot of parties. We can watch like 5 times, 10 times in our home. So, and I think that will make something easier for us as well.
Okay.
Sorry, sir, please. Sir, please, it's not a question I want to ask. Could you show your codes?
Share my code.
Your HTML and CSS code, please. Yes, like I want to capture.
This, because there's nothing really inside.
Yes. Yes, I just want to see the work. Thank you.
Okay, I'll see if I can share it.
I want to make a suggestion. Since you talked about background images, I felt that it should be also okay if you should teach how to clip them, like the clip parts too. Like since you taught background images and how to use images and the gradients, I feel that before you go to animation, you should also talk something about clip parts. Clipping those images.
Yes, clip parts is not something I would say I would want maybe to even put on their head now.
Okay, there was this tutorial I was following, He was talking about background images, then he kind of put it in.
What is it?
There was this video I was watching, he said something about background images. So he was like, clip path is like kind of essential when you're using it in your header.
No,
As
you
like
don't use clipart. Clipart is advanced CSS. And going back to this thing, I remember this was it called was used by clipart. So you don't even need to know clipart yet. This shape is actually a background, not background image, a normal box was achieved with clipart. So I would say it's not something I would say you should actually put clipart on it. So not to divert, I would not actually advise that okay, move to clipart for any reasons now. I don't know if that's
okay, sir.
So sorry, sir.
Okay.
I would like to ask something here, and I didn't start the class with you when you begin it, so I would like to know if we can get everything that you said at like W3 schools. We can have more explanation there, or we can wait for the video to be uploaded, or I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the video will be uploaded. The video
So
will be uploaded.
can you go also can you go like to W3 schools to get more like details? I don't know if it is.
Yes, the V3 school, like I said, is actually an essential platform that you can get a lot of things. So when you come to this advanced part, you learn a lot of things. What I told you was around this side, I was able to touch this CSS back. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just call it a day from here. I don't know if somebody still has one question. Maybe one final question. Then.
Sir, please display your HTML code. What you showed was CSS. I want to see the HTML code.
Okay. This is the HTML code. You want to snap it or?
Thank you very much.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
I've done that. Good.
Thank you. Okay, yeah.
Yes, sir, please. Is there a way you can share us this code? I think that will still be easier for us to make our practice.
I've actually deleted some parts, so I don't know how that would actually still work. I've deleted some parts.
Okay.
I've deleted some parts. So I've deleted some parts. So I doubt if you'll be able to still get to use it aside you watch the video. So is that good?
Yes, sir. And I think someone has actually blessed us with that on the comment section.
Okay, I was gonna send it. Okay, if you can copy that fast, so that I would be able to end the class, and I would say. Thank you everyone for joining the class. I would say